Good afternoon and welcome inside Caledonia Park here in Nanaimo, British Columbia. Week number 2 in the BCFC. The Kamloops Broncos visiting the Vancouver Island Raiders, home opening weekend for the Raiders here in Nanaimo. Thanks so much for joining us here on BCFC TV. My name is Dominic Abbasi. Proud to be back another season broadcasting on BCFC TV. And both of these teams obviously hungry for a win after disappointing losses in week number 1. Disappointing, I think, for different reasons for these two teams. The Raiders, quite frankly, blew it. A 28-point lead in the third quarter, and they lost to the Valley Huskers on the road. The Huskers winning their first football game in more than 3 seasons, picking up a 33-31 victory. On the other side of the coin for the Broncos, they continue to struggle against their interior foe, the Okanagan Sun, as the Sun really blasted the Broncos 56-6 on home opening weekend at Hillside Stadium for this Kamloops team. So both clubs, for slightly different reasons, looking to bounce back here. It is a pretty cool day in Nanaimo, a little bit muggy here as we get set for kickoff in a couple of minutes here at 2:30. Right around 21, 22 degrees here, threatening some rain. There are some pretty heavy clouds hanging over us here. I think I heard some thunder off in the distance as well. So we'll see if weather plays any impact on this game here this afternoon. Raiders, of course, coming off a BC championship last season. Some would say an unlikely BC championship, as they were the third-place finishing team last year, but rolled through the postseason with 2 road victories, beat the Sun in the Apple Bowl, then beat their island rivals, the Rebels, down in West Shore to capture the BC title. For the Broncos, a 5th-place finish last year, 2-8. Not what Brad Yamoka was looking for from his team for sure. I think there was a lot more expectation on this Kamloops team at the start of last season, but it didn't end up panning out the way that they wanted it to go. They have not made the playoffs here in the BCFC since 2015 when they finished 5-5. Week number 1 performers for the Raiders. Rhett Williams carried the ball 13 times, put up 112 yards, a couple of touchdowns as well. Jake LeBerge passing the ball, 7 of 21, 110 yards, 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. And I know for a fact that Jake would be the first to say that is absolutely not the kind of performance he is looking for as he kicks off his 3rd season, and much of his time in the BCFC here spent as a starting quarterback. Certainly a disappointing start to the year for him. Raiders' top receiver was Deshaun Dingwell out of the backfield. 2 grabs for 21 yards, and you can clearly see by the stats just 110 yards through the air. The Raiders really had a hard time passing the ball against the Valley Huskers defense. For the Broncos at home in week 1, it was Andrew Pochernich who was their leading back, 11 carries, 31 yards, so not a great average, but a decent workload for Pochernich. Throwing the ball, Reed Van Koenet, 4 of 22, and an interception, no touchdowns, just 4 completions for the Kamloops Broncos in their passing game. So both of these teams with a little something to prove here as we get set to kick off week number 2. Raiders will receive the opening kickoff here. They are wearing the black jerseys with the red trim, black socks, black pants, a little red on them, and the black helmets as they will move left to right on your computer screens and devices here in the first quarter of this game. The Broncos in the road whites, blue helmets, orange socks, blue pants. They will kick and move right to left. Chris Short, your head referee here for this football game here this evening. It is quite muggy, as I said. We've just come off a heat wave here in Nanaimo, and temperatures finally dipping back down below 30 degrees today, but different kind of challenge for these players with a little mugginess in the air as well. Today's game on BCFC TV brought to you by Remax of Kamloops, as North Rainey stands back with Xander Bailey to return the kick. The whistle is in. Landon Monk strides into the ball. It's up and away, and we're underway here from Caledonia Park, week 2. Raiders and Broncos in the BCFC, and a good return here right off the bat by North Rainey as he goes from right to left, gets to about the 45 where he swung down And the Raiders will have solid starting field position here to open up this football game. Jake LeBerge leads this offense out onto the field. For LeBerge, last season, a very strong second campaign in the BCFC for him. 1,753 yards, third in the conference in passing, 17 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions, a completion percentage of 56%. As he strides under center here, 1st and 10, Raiders from their own 45-yard line. And they'll hand the ball off to the 5th-year man, Rhett Williams, as he'll go right side. About 5 yards. On the first offensive play of this football game. A lot of people were pretty shocked to see that scoreline last weekend coming out of the Valley, and I don't blame them. I was pretty shocked myself. 2nd and 5 from the Raider 50. As LeBerge surveys the defense, Broncos 4 across the defensive line, showing blitz here. Now they'll back off that look, and it looks like they will come. 5-man pressure, handoff. Left side, Williams breaks the first level, and he's got a first down over midfield into Bronco territory. And that was a solid gain there for last year's second leading rusher. Only behind Trey Campbell was Rhett Williams last year, and on a significantly fewer carries as well. 81 for 551 last year for Williams. Campbell had 800 yards, but on 40 more carries. So Williams much more efficient with his touches. 1st and 10 inside Bronco territory, first drive of the game. LeBerge fumbled the snap. He's going to have to pull it down and run with it, and he'll have himself a very short gain as Darby Kwan out of that Broncos defense. A veteran linebacker pulls him down. Not a bad gain for LeBerge. He is a fairly mobile quarterback. Raiders line up 4 wide, 2 on either side of the formation. Backs flanking LeBerge in the shotgun set here. 2nd and 5. Good snap. Looks quick pass. Dingwell out of the backfield. Pulls it in. A high one. Looks to me as though he is right on the marker. This might depend on the spot. As Deshaun Dingwell swung out of the backfield there and pulled that in. LeBerge thinks it's a first down. Doug Hawking right on top of the referees, and indeed it is a first down for the Raiders. Their second on this drive. You can see the referee, Chris Short, poking his head right into that Raider huddle. I'm not sure what the exact messaging would be there. Maybe a note about the play clock. I know sometimes the referees will give you a warning if you're taking too long to get plays off under the huddle. So another first down, third first down of this drive to open up the ball game for the Raiders inside the Bronco 40-yard line. Williams and Dingwell flip sides behind LeBerge. Screen pass to the wide receiver on the top side of the field. Gets 2 blocks. He's over the 25. He'll be forced out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. A quick pass and a couple of good blocks, and Alex Bonnetplume moves the sticks, and there is a flag down late on that play as well. As very simple play, but well executed from this Raider offense. The bubble screen to Bonnetplume. Good for presumably a first down, although I guess it will depend on what the penalty flag was there. It is going to be a first down. It's horse collar against the defense, so it won't be just a first down. It'll be 1st and goal. 3 first downs on a drive that started at the Raiders' own 45, and 3.5 minutes into this ball game, they're 1st and goal, trying to strike first. LeBerge under center, I formation behind him, trips near side of the field. LeBerge, handoff, Williams, hit, ball is out. It's recovered by the Broncos, and they are going to, no, they're not. Play is called down as the whistle is blown dead, and what is happening here? The Broncos came out of that pile with the ball. There's no question Williams was not down. And they're saying this is Raider football. not exactly sure what the call was there. I mean, you could not argue with me that Williams was down there. He was clearly standing up and the ball was not in his hands. But the play blown dead, and the Raiders get a second chance as they'll grind one here on 2nd and goal. They're not going to cross the line. And we will have a 3rd and goal situation here. What a sequence of plays this is. I think the Raiders are going to go for this here, would be my guess. You can hear the coaches from both sides hollering in to their respective side of the ball to be prepared for a QB sneak. Seems to be the hunch of the Broncos defensive coaches here. 3rd and goal, a big gamble. 5 minutes into this football game. LeBears goes shotgun. It's a pass, lofts it up for Rainey. Touchdown Raiders! A home run swing from the Nanaimo product, North Rainey. On 3rd and goal, a quick fade to the back of the end zone, and the Raiders strike first, 6-0. They made that look easy at the end of it all. A 1-yard touchdown pass. But the Broncos have reason to be a little bit upset, I think, on that, as the extra point is up and through. So 7-0 Raiders. 5 minutes into this first quarter. And I'll be very interested to maybe get the recap of exactly what the explanation was on that play on the goal line. It was a handoff to Williams. He ran into the thick of it with all the big bodies on that defensive line, and he did not have the ball in his hands when he reemerged, and the Bronco defender clearly did and was actually off to the races. Looked as though might be a touchdown fumble recovery of about 109 yards, but instead the play was blown dead. And the Raiders, 2 plays later, lofted up to the back of the end zone for North Rainey, and he pulls it in for the first touchdown of this football game. Rainey had 6 of them last season from LeBears, and that connection proving to be, or at least potentially to be, one of the best in the BCFC this season. Broncos will bring this back. Potronich, the starting running back, weaves his way through a maze of black jerseys, pulled down at the 35-yard line. So this Broncos offense trying to get a little life to it. They struggled last week against the Okanagan Sun. Just 68 yards of offensive production. In fact, their net offense on the day was 38 yards against the Okanagan Sun. That is anemic, to say the least. So first drive of the game for the Bronco offense. They will start at their own 35. Flag flies, handoff, and a nice gain here by Trent Price. But the flag in the area of potentially an offside. Oh, it's offside on the defense, so the first down will stand. And a good gain to start this ball game on offense for the Broncos. First and 10. Hand it off again to Price. And again, a very nice gain right in the middle of the teeth of that defense. Price only carried the ball twice last week, so he's already matched his carry total against the Okanagan Sun, and he's already far outproduced the 5 yards he gained. He's got about 20 on the first 2 touches of this game near midfield here. 6 minutes into the first quarter. 7-0 Raiders have the lead. Van Kofnet out of the shotgun here, facing second and call it 6. Raiders bring 5-man pressure. Van Kofnet feels it, flushes left, lofts it up, and it will be incomplete. In the hands of Solipa, but the defense coming over with a double team hit, and that ball hits the ground. Already some words being exchanged between the Raider defensive backs and the Bronco bench. G. Van, McNally Hardesty, and Tyler Hill in conversation with some Broncos on the bench, and quickly Raider coach Doug Hawking shut that down. There's a lot of energy and intensity, especially on the Raiders sideline to start this game, and not surprising after their disappointing performance in week 1, at least in the second half, and that loss to the Huskers. So on third down, it will be a punt for this Broncos team, and I suppose we should not be overly surprised by that, because Kamloops punter Bryce Couture tied a team record last week as he puts this one up into the air. And that's actually Sean Murray that just kicked that, and having a little trouble with that was Xander Bailey, and he'll pull that in. So it wasn't Couture that was punting that, it was Sean Murray, but as I was saying, Bryce Couture created a new Kamloops team record for the most punts in a game, 15 times against the Sun last week. So a first down, but a punt ultimately on the Broncos' first drive of this football game. Raiders will start at their own 15, leading 7-0 here. LeBerge in the shotgun set. Hands it off to Williams. And he has a nice gain. First down to the 30 as the thunder rolls in the distance here in Nanaimo. Menacing black clouds hanging over the mountain in the background here. You can see from Caledonia Park, and pretty substantial thunder rolling off in the distance. Hopefully that doesn't move any closer. I would imagine there would probably need to be some sort of lightning delay if that ever became an issue. First down, Williams again. He's been busy to start this game. Moderate gain here, maybe 4 yards. Broncos defense last week gave up 209 yards on the ground. 209 through the air as well, in fact, against the Sun last weekend. 209 yards passing given up isn't actually really that bad, but 209 on the ground when you combine and you put up over 400 yards, that is not the number you're looking for. As Rainey grabs a second down pass here, and he's got a first down to the 45-yard line. LeBerge and Rainey, I'll tell you, these two could do a lot of damage this season in the BCFC, a very dynamic duo. First and 10, 45-yard line. Broncos line up with 3 men on the line of scrimmage, 2 of them with their hand in the dirt, and then another halfback here leaning in. It's a blitz and a bad snap, and LeBerge just got back on top of that ball. The snap was high, and the blitz was on, and that combination made for a little tense moment in the Raider backfield, but LeBerge, the veteran, able to get on top of that ball before we see our first turnover of this football game. That's going to set up second and very long here. 5 minutes just over left to go in the first quarter. Raiders up 7. Second drive of the game for them on offense. LeBerge goes into the shotgun, flanked by his backs. Balance, set, second and long. He'll pass. High, deep, into the bench. Incomplete. And we'll see one of the best punters in the Canadian Junior Football League come onto the field here. And Nick Hunchak, a booming, and I mean booming leg on this young man. Last year, averaged 39 yards a punt, led the BCFC. Very talented young man, and you don't spend a lot of time talking about punters, but this one deserves it. That's a low line drive kick, and a great tackle there as the ball was returned by Gabe Soklovsky, and he got popped coming down the sidelines there. As getting down in coverage was still a Neufeld, and snuffed out that punt return relatively quickly. Broncos, though, good field position here for their second drive of the game from the 43-yard line. They only mustered one first down on their first offensive foray here at Caledonia Park in Nanaimo. And they're not going to get this play underway. It's a false start. First and 15 upcoming here for Kamloops. BCFC TV brought to you by Remax Kamloops today. So they blow the play in here after the false start. Backed up 5-15 on first down. The Broncos need just inside their own 40. Raiders 4 men down, hand in the dirt on the line of scrimmage. Counter action play, and a pretty good gain here by Patrnich. Somebody lost a bucket down in that pile. I think it was Matthew Hill, the linebacker. It's a nice 7-yard gain there on first and 15 by Patrnich, the veteran back for the Broncos. He was their leading rusher last season, had 312 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry. Did Patrnich. Broncos ran the same play they were going to run on the false start there. You don't always see that. Oftentimes when a play is false started, you kind of tip your hand as to what you're going to run, and you'll see the coach switch it up. They did not and got a good gain out of it. They need 7 here on second down. Van Connet, left side, too high for Patrnich as the Thunder continues to clap in the distance, and it'll be a punt situation here for Kamloops. 3:50 remaining in a first quarter that has the home side up here in Nanaimo 7-0. LaBerge to Rainey, a 1-yard back of the end zone fade was the scoring play about 5 minutes into this first quarter. High snap, pulled down, good kick here. As that's Casey Powell kicking that short, and no yards flags litter the field here. Oh, and another flag is going to come out as Hockernick took a right-hand swing at the man who was trying to block him there, and Dylan Neufeld. So Neufeld has had a nice start to this game on special teams. He made a great tackle on the Raiders' last punt, and they're engaged in a quality block on Patrnich, who didn't appreciate it and took a right-hand swing directly in front of veteran referee Sandy Baines, and he's made that call a few hundred times in his career. An easy one as well. So no yards, and I would imagine unnecessary roughness are going to be really aiding the Raiders here, and that's the case. So they're going to move up significantly from their own 45-yard line where the punt was returned to. Wow, 20 extra yards on what was already a short punt as well, and fantastic starting field position here for VI. They will move inside the Bronco 45-yard line. And that will make life a lot easier. On Jake LeBerge and company here. Shotgun set, balanced with the receivers. Quick pass to Rainey, can't pull it in, that's too high. And Rainey has been LeBerge's first look on pretty much every passing scenario except for the bubble screen to Bonnet Plume earlier in this game. As I said, Jake LeBerge is a veteran player, third year. And a great season last year, led this team to a BCFC championship. Play action on 2nd and 10. LeBerge going deep. He's got a man. It's there. Touchdown Raiders. Will they call him in or not? No, they're going to put him down at the 1-yard line. As Brett Ablett got in behind the defense. It looked like for a second he might have lost that ball, but he recalibrated himself, got right underneath of the bomb from LeBerge, and the Raiders go 44 yards on 2nd and 10. They've got 1st and goal. Thought he made it into the end zone there, but ruled down right on the 1, or the inch-yard line, really. Great pass by Jake LeBerge there. The only player who was going to catch that ball was his receiver, Ablett, as he put that high and deep out in front of everybody. And gave only his man a chance. Handoff, Williams, touchdown, Raiders, 13-0. With 2 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. Williams had 3 touchdowns last season. He's now matched that total as he had a pair in week 1. And it is extra point pending. And there's the extra point through, so 14-0 on a 1-yard run. By Rhett Williams. And that is not the start, obviously, the Kamloops Broncos were looking for here, but would not take much for Brad Yamoka to find something to point to as maybe a rallying point. And how about the fact that the team the Raiders were playing last week were trailing 24-3 at the half. And they ended up winning that football game by 2 points. So no reason to believe that this game is over as well. Unless, of course, you're a strong believer that the Huskers offense is way more capable than the Broncos, and that's an argument I think yet to be seen as we're only through week 1 in this season. Potronich with a solid return. Broncos will start at their own 35-yard line with 2 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. They have just 1 first down to their credit so far today. Reed Van Conant in the shotgun. Play action, and he will go down. Sacked in the backfield. Doyle Westland. Penetration quickly. And it is a sack for the Raider defense. And there was really no chance for Van Conant there. Raiders had no sacks last week, something that was really a staple of their defensive attack last season. And Westland there. Sets up second and long, and a fumbled snap, and Van Conant with no real chance. And he will go down behind the original line of scrimmage. And the Raiders have forced another punt here for the third consecutive drive. So the Raiders' defensive front creating havoc on that drive. There's usually a direct correlation between pressure, a little bit of nervousness maybe in the offensive line, and a bad snap. Those are two things that typically go hand in hand. The Broncos don't have enough players on the field right now. And a high short punt here by Casey Powell was run under and brought in. Taking a fairly good hit there was Sean Aravsky as he got himself under that punt on the run. Potentially a no-yard scenario there, but it was not awarded by the referees. So with under a minute to go in the first quarter, we'll see the Raiders' fourth drive of the game starting at their own 50-yard line. Their last one ended in a touchdown. Broncos show five-man pressure. They'll bring four, drop back instead. LeBear's quick pass down the sideline for West, just too far. As LeBear's tried to lead Mike West there on 1st and 10. Raiders have not been afraid to try the deep ball here early in this game. And it's been successful as well. LeBerge, why not when you have that veteran arm? You can test the defenders deep. And that does a lot for your offense when you can loosen up a defense. They have to respect your ability to put the ball up and over their head, and makes life a lot harder for a defensive coordinator to try and make plans underneath. Rainey, nice cutback, and he drops the ball, but he recovers it. First down, Raiders into Bronco territory there. What a quick cutback step by Rainey, the John Barsby product here, and an IMO boy. He was well short of the first down when he caught that ball, but he planted hard on the left foot, cut up field, made the Bronco defender whiff, and got the necessary yardage to end the first quarter, with the Raiders holding a 14-0 lead. And looking pretty good so far here to open this game, but I'll probably say this more than once today. It's, what's the end of this game going to look like? Because the Raiders proved last week that, at least for now, it is fair to question their second half lead holding ability. 1st and 10. First play of the second quarter. LeBear's quick pass on the money to Mike West, and he will have enough for a first down. The Raiders making success with those quick passes a couple of times already today, and that's what I'm talking about. You start to pull that defense back. The defensive backs get on their heels because they know you're going to go deep over their heads, or at least you're willing to, and then you can easily work underneath routes and quick passes like that for first down. Williams on a first down, gets a couple near the 25 of the Broncos. So far, no rainfall here at Caledonia Park. It is threatening. I would be shocked if we make it the rest of the afternoon without any. Five yards needed for a fresh set of downs here. Bronco 25-yard line, LeBerge. Doesn't like his first read, not the second either. Now he's going to run. There's a holding flag out in the backfield. LeBerge is going to scamper out of bounds for first down yardage, but this will not stand, would be my guess here. Oh, no flag. All right. Just when you think you've got it all figured out. No flag. That was definitely in the area of holding, but they waved that off. So it is a nice gain by LeBerge, about 8 yards. Sets up first down from inside the 20. Under center I formation, balance set here for the Raiders. Fake handoff, they'll go right side to Williams. Breaks a couple of tackles and will finally be pulled down in the mix of the pile. Justin Haverkamp involved in that stop. Second down, 4 yards. Bronco 10-yard line. Shotgun set. Kamloops balance on the line. They'll bring the blitz to the back of the end zone. Touchdown Raiders. Deja vu, different end zone, same result. LeBerge to Rainey. Connecting for a second time today, and it is 20-0. 3 minutes into the second quarter. 10 yards this time. It was 1 yard the first. Rainey just showing superior athleticism on his 2 touchdown passes. Would not really say he was wide open on either one, but perfect positioning of the ball from his quarterback, LeBerge. Put it up high where only his incredibly athletic receiver could go up and get it, and he did just that. Hauls that one in. This is a short kick. Not sure if on purpose. The Broncos touched it and the Raiders have it. It wouldn't have mattered if the Broncos touched it or not. It obviously could have been an onside kick attempt, but whether planned or not, a successful recovery of a kickoff there from the Raiders. And boy, oh boy, bad to worse quickly here for the visitors. Thunder and lightning as well now. From the Bronco 35-yard line, the Raiders will start here. Now we're going to see. I think the refs might want to talk about this situation here. There was certainly some lightning there a moment ago. It was not that far away. And the skies have opened here as well. Coaches say keep playing, and so we will. Brad Yamoka and Doug Hawking, not the kind of coaches that would ever be in favor of slowing down a game or pulling anyone off the field, obviously within the reason of safety. But those two guys, former football teammates and roommates, in fact, and know each other very, very well. Strong friendship between the two head coaches here today competing. And no way are they going to pull their teams off the field until absolutely necessary here, if that does become a factor. Williams with a short gain. Maybe no gain on first down there. That flash of lightning just as that onside kick was happening, was not too far away. I mean, I wouldn't say it was exactly that close either, but it was not not so far away. An offensive lineman with a shoe issue here. Now we've corrected that. LeBerge, 2nd and 10, throws, complete. First down, Mike West. Great bullet pass there from LeBerge, put it right on the chest. As we are now experiencing full-on rain here at Caledonia Park. As the umbrellas pop up in the stands across from us here. First and 10, LeBerge. Williams, he's going to go wide outside, and he is going to score. Barely touched. Rhett Williams, his 2nd touchdown of the game, his 4th of the season already. Having a better year touchdown-wise than he did all of 2017, excuse me. And the Raiders stretch the lead to 4 scores just 5 minutes into the 2nd quarter here. A 27-yard scamper by Williams made it look easy. $28-0 with the extra point. And back-to-back touchdowns from the Raiders just 2 minutes apart have doubled the lead quickly here. Onside kickoff, whether it was on purpose or not, was almost executed to perfection by the Raiders. And they punch it into the end zone a few plays later. Williams, his 4th touchdown of the season. As he went wide around the left side and had barely one man to beat and raced his way inside the pylon. Patrnich cuts left side, breaks a tackle out of bounds, about the 35. Pretty significant rainfall coming down here now. And even more so as I say it, picking up in intensity. Patrnich, short gain on first down. The Bronco offense, by my count, has 1 first down in this first half. Van Conant on 2nd down. He's going to be hit, gets it away, but it's incomplete. As Doyle Westland again causing problems in the backfield. Not a very big defensive lineman by defensive line standards, and especially when you stand him up against Brody Taylor, who is much different stature than Doyle Westland, but man, Westland is having a great day so far. Sack earlier, a pressure there, and another punt on another drive without a first down for the Broncos here. Howell, 2 steps and a right leg under that ball. Xander Bailey. A couple of quick cuts, a couple of flags down as well as he's near midfield. Heavy rain steadily coming down now at Caledonian Park here in Nanaimo. As they'll hand the ball off here, the Raiders inside to Thomas Franks, getting his first touch of the ball game. Franks did not carry the ball last weekend at all against Valley. I mean, I'll tell you right now, there are people probably across the entire city that are dancing in joy for this rain. We have been mired in a heat wave and a drought here in Nanaimo for the last basically month. Haven't seen any tangible rain for the last 6 weeks. And of course, if you've been following the news at all, and I don't have to tell people in Kamloops much about this, as Franks breaks through the left side, and he will finally be hauled down deep in Bronco territory as Thomas Franks, only Josh Isaac to save a touchdown there. As I was saying, if you've been following the news at all, there is a very sizable wildfire, about 450 acres burning about 14 kilometers southwest of Nanaimo, up in the Nanaimo Lakes area. About 77 homes were on evacuation alert because of that fire. That actually was just rescinded today as the Raiders run play action and a good pressure up front there will cause an incompletion. Haverkamp breaking through. Veteran linebacker DB for the Broncos. That evacuation alert was just rescinded actually earlier this afternoon because of the cooling weather conditions. And of course, now the rainfall, so the crews are able to get some containment on that wildfire. And of course, I don't need to tell the folks from Kamloops anything about wildfires and what they've had to deal with there. I know last year, every week, I spoke to Brad Yamoka for our weekly coaches interviews on BCFootballConference.com as Dingwell gets a pass in the flats. He's wide open, breaks a tackle, and he's cut down. A good low tackle there to end that play. And a flag is down in the backfield. It's going to be a hit to the head of Jake LeBerge. Although that won't matter much. It'll just move this ball slightly closer to the goal line. So the quarterback was roughed up a bit there. We're halfway through the second quarter here. Raiders up by 4 scores and knocking on the door for number 5 here. As I was saying, every week I talk to Brad Yamoka. It's a how are preparations, how's practice, and it seemed as though week after week the Broncos were challenged by the weather and by the smoke from wildfires. Heavy smoke sitting over top of the city and making it really challenging to really force your players to exert themselves when breathing, and becomes a bit of a challenge in a scenario like that. So a lot of people, as I said, probably pretty happy around Nanaimo right now. They do not include the people at the stats table to my left who are trying their hardest to keep their papers dry, and I think failing a little bit. If the stats from this game don't come through exactly perfect, don't blame the statisticians, because they're dealing with adverse weather conditions here. Second down and goal from the 2-yard line. Raiders have been perfect on the goal line so far today. They're not going to score here on second down. It's going to bring up 3rd and goal, and I really can't picture a reason why the Raiders wouldn't go for it here. Up 4 scores, there's really nothing to lose. They make a substitution in the backfield, as Sean Murray subs in here on what I would assume is the jumbo package. Dingwell and Murray. Was that Murray? Yeah, I think it was. 3rd and goal. Handoff. Touchdown. Raiders punch it in. And it's a even larger lead here with 5 minutes left to go. That was actually Jason Henderson, excuse me. So Jason Henderson plugs that one in from 1 yard out. Extra point is good, 35-0 the scoreline here with 5 minutes to go in the first half. Really coming down here now. And as I said, aside from perhaps some of the fans who might have forgotten an umbrella, not many people in Nanaimo will be too upset with seeing this rain right now, because we need it in a bad way. A lot of parts of this province could use some significant rain as well. We are about 40 minutes away from kickoff. About a 90-minute drive down the highway south from us here at West Hills Stadium. The game of the week in the British Columbia Football Conference. The Okanagan Sun visiting the West Shore Rebels. Two teams that have quickly, thanks to some on and off-field things, have quickly developed a nasty, nasty rivalry here in the BCFC and have been, with all due respect to the Raiders, two of the strongest powerhouse teams in the last couple of seasons. And that's going to be a great game. Talked to Ben McCauley and Charlie Cardelicki, the two head coaches, earlier this week. They both said all the right things. They were very cordial, very respectful, as you would expect, but you just get the feeling like they were simmering under the surface. Pochernich on 2nd and 5 here on a swing pass from Van Connet, and that's not going to go anywhere. Going to bring up 3rd down. And this game spiraling right now for these Kamloops Broncos.
Offense, get ready! Offense, get ready!
The Raiders are going to have plenty of time to try and add more here. They've put up 21 points in the last 7 minutes. And they'll have another 4 left in this half to try and add to it if they would like. Bronco player with some blood there. Cole Avery is forced to vacate the field. You cannot be in the play with the open blood. So he'll be sent off. Get some repair work done. Good snap. Pulled down here and booted away by Landon Monk and out of bounds. The Raiders will start at their own 40-yard line. Own 40-yard line. First down, Raiders at their own 40-yard line. LeBear's shotgun. Motion in the backfield early. They'll hand it to Williams. The Saskatchewan product goes right side for 5. As I said, already has more touchdowns than he scored all of last year. And we're through 1.5 weeks this season. A great start to the year for Williams. You can hear the Raider coaches on the sidelines telling their players to not get too high, stay hungry. Also warning them to not get involved in any sort of chippiness, should that ever become a factor here this afternoon. And this drive is going to go 2 and out, so a little stale from the Raider offense there. And that ends a streak of 4 consecutive scoring drives. 4 straight scoring drives for the Raiders, ending here with a punt on this one. Great kick by Hunchak there. I mean, he just drilled that thing. Impressive stuff there, really. And the Broncos trapped down by their own 20-yard line. And it's so funny because, as I said earlier, you never talk about punters. When was the last time you really talked about a punter? But you can hear the Raiders coaches as he let that one go, just marveling at this high, arcing, spiraling kick. It's a thing of beauty. And what a talent he is. And, you know, I called the BC Championship game last year when the Raiders upset the Rebels. And I said it so many times on that broadcast. I don't think I've ever seen a punter have such an impact on a football game because it was terrible weather, pouring rain. It was a real issue, and Hunchak just kept pounding the ball at the Rebels, and they had a nightmare trying to field it because, of course, it was wet as anything. They couldn't field his kicks because they were so deep. He kept kicking it over their heads. They were trying to field them on the run. The field position game, the Raiders dominated really because of that. And for me, it was Hunchak and Xander Bailey, who was a rookie at that point, running back, who was a very diminutive rookie playing against this beastly Rebels defensive line. And they slammed him over and over again. And he just kept getting up and pounding the ball. And for me, that was the two players, the two difference makers in that football game. And as you can see now, the effects of the rain, as Trent Price loses his footing and it ends up costing him probably a couple of extra yards on a good first down run there, or second down run, excuse me. Because Caledonia Park, we don't have any of that fancy field turf here in Nanaimo. A good old-fashioned turf field here. And typically, pretty shaggy grass. Although there would be no reason for it to be soft or muddy at this time of year. So as I said before, we haven't had any substantial rainfall in about 6 weeks here in Nanaimo, but it turns quickly on this grass field, and if you don't have the right studs in, you're in trouble. High kick, not deep. There's Bailey. About the 45-yard line of the Broncos. The Raiders will have another crack at things here, leading 35-0, 2 minutes left in the first half. Best field position of the day for the Raiders. Their last drive ended in a punt that snapped a streak of 4 consecutive scoring drives. Wind whipping up through the stadium here now. It's blowing against the Raiders, so into the face of the offense here. Well, this starting field position is going to get even better thanks to a penalty. And there we have a, is that a streaker on the field there? We have a goose down by the goal line of the Broncos. Can't quite see him in the shot there. He's down to the left of the screen. Maybe the highlight of this first half here if he gets involved in the play. Nice run by Bailey. You can see it on the left of the screen there. I don't know if he's playing safety for the Broncos back there or not, but I don't know what his 40 time is. They might want to get a jersey on that guy. He does not seem too interested in the football game. Just minding his business about the 5-yard line. And you know it's a blowout when? It's now one of the referees is going to try and shoo him off the field. Oh, boy. The lore of Caledonia Park continues. This park is well known around the country for its quirks. Bailey's going to try and bounce this outside, and it's not going to work. I was never much of a running back in my day, as you would expect from a 300-pound man, but I was always taught you're better to keep going upfield than try and get wide and go outside, and Xander Bailey would have been wise to heed that advice there. Probably would have gained the yards needed for a first down if he stuck that up behind his offensive lineman who was pulling in front of him, but he tried to bounce and get wide, and at this level of football, even against a struggling Broncos team, that usually doesn't work because there are some fast athletes that can string you out. Third down, Raiders will go for it, and they're not going to get it. A strip sack, and the Broncos recover. Best play of the day for Kamloops as Mixon Madland gets into the backfield, strips the ball, and recovers it. Racking up the defensive points there. Mixon Madland with a strip sack. And the Broncos finally with a bit of positivity. First turnover of this football game. And maybe the slick football a problem for Jake LeBerge there. The Broncos will take over, and they'll try to go deep on the first play. Airing one up for Duneveld, and he's got it, and the flags are out. And he's down about the 25-yard line. Van Connet goes deep to Duneveld, and they connect. So back to back. The best plays of the game for the Broncos here. And the pass interference is against the Raiders, so waved off with 70 seconds left in the first half. The first signs of a pulse from this Broncos team today. A strip sack recovered by Mixon Madland, and now Van Connet to Duneveld. And their first down at the Raider 25, their deepest foray into VI territory today as the first down pass flies incomplete off the hands of Matt White. I mean, must score. Doesn't even really quite encapsulate this. Pass up the seam, incomplete. McNally Hardesty in coverage there on Duneveld. What was that? That was Finstad, actually. In Finstad. Trying to cut underneath the coverage, but the pass goes through his hands. 59 seconds left in the first half, and the Broncos are going to go for it. Pochernich comes limping off the field for the Kamloops offense, and he'll get a visit from the training staff. Van Conant in the shotgun. It's 3rd and 10. Pressure, flushed, throws incomplete. And Van Conant hearing and feeling the footsteps all around him there as Taylor and Westland came off the edges and made for a little collapsing pocket, or squeezing pocket, I guess. It held well in the middle, but the edges dropped, and Van Conant sailed it incomplete, so a turnover on downs. So a nice response. From the Raider defense after the Broncos showed their first real signs of life here today. But eventually the drive ends, and there's an interception thrown by LaBerge. Back-to-back plays, the Raider quarterback has turned it over. Caden Cook hauls that one in, quite frankly, a gift, as LaBerge stuck that right in his chest. And another chance for the Broncos here to try and crack this donut. Caden Cook in the perfect spot. Threw it right into his chest as LaBerge did not throw the pass he wanted there. And you can see LaBerge and Rainey having a conversation on the sidelines right now, trying to figure out exactly what happened there. First down pass is complete to Solipa. Van Conant put a nice one there right on the sidelines, a good spot. It'll be 2nd down and the nose of the football. So very quickly here at the end of this first half, the Raiders have, I would imagine, as I can see by the body language of Doug Hawking, put a bit of a sour taste in the mouth of their head coach here. Not the wisest thing you want to do heading into the locker room. There's pressure on Van Conant, and he throws that into the dirt. No chance really to do anything with that, as he had Matthew Cox bearing down on his blind side. Wouldn't have minded seeing a one-step fade to the back of the end zone there on 2nd and inches, and then you know you have 3rd down, so just run the QB sneak here. You know, armchair offensive coordinator that I am. So 3rd and inches, fumbled snap. And I don't think the play got off cleanly there. Not sure how they're going to call or what they're going to say here, but that was a bad snap. And Van Conant, I don't think, would have got the yards to gain. They're going to replay the down. The ball was not set before the snap. Third and inches again. Pochernich stacked up. Oh, I don't think he got it. Raiders defense doesn't think he got it. And they're going to call for the sticks. Potronich is frustrated in a conversation with one of the Raider defenders there. The sticks will come out, but nobody seems overly confident that Potronich got the yards to gain here. It is close. They're really going to look at this. It's right on it. Does he have a piece of paper to slide in through there? Yeah, it's short. Turnover on downs for the second straight drive. Boy, what a difference we could have been looking at here. The Raiders turned the ball over on back-to-back drives. And the Broncos, instead of putting up points, turned the ball over on downs on back-to-back drives. So we could have been looking at a significantly different scoreline going into the half here. But as it stands now, it's a 35-0 Raider lead. Delay handoff to Bailey, and that is not going to go anywhere. Second and 12. Under 20 to go in the first half, and the Broncos are going to use a timeout here. First timeout we have seen used in this football game. You're watching BCFC TV, brought to you by Remax of Kamloops. Lots more to come on the platform today. Starting at 4 o'clock, the game of the week. The Okanagan Sun visiting the West Shore Rebels. A couple of 1-0 teams going head-to-head there. And then later tonight, the Battle of the Valley. The Langley Rams visiting the Valley Huskers. And when was the last time the Rams and Huskers played that the Huskers had a better record than the Rams? I don't know the answer to that question, but it might be never. The 1-0 Huskers hosting the 0-1 Rams, who lost to the Rebels in a tight one in week 1. Penalty filled by all accounts as well. Bubble screen pass, probably enough for the first down there on 2nd and long. 10 seconds to go in the half. That'll do it for the first half. So the Raiders came out of the gates like a shot, but they're going to head into the locker room in a much different state here. As they came out, scored on the first drive of the game, scored on the third drive of the game, and then the 4th, 5th, and 6th. 4 straight touchdown drives by the Raiders over a span of not much time, really, over a span of about 9 minutes. They put up 4 straight touchdowns, 35-0 lead, but they ended the half by throwing an interception and fumbling the ball and turning it over. Back-to-back turnovers to end the first half from the Raiders. Broncos unable to take advantage, though, as they went out and turned the ball over on downs on back-to-back drives. Other than that, all punts for this Kamloops Broncos offense in the first 30 minutes of this football game. Both teams will head into the locker room here as the rain is sort of abated briefly here at Caledonia Park. You can see the Broncos kneeling down by their own goal line as Brad Yamoka trying to inspire something from his group as they are staring in the face of a back-to-back weeks being blown out. And the Raiders trying to probably, I would imagine, exercise some ghosts after going into the locker room feeling probably about as good as they do right now last week. And they came out of that week without a win. So we'll see how they react moving into the second half of this football game. We will take a break here. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with second half action here from Nanaimo. The Raiders 35, the Broncos no score. This is BCFC TV powered by Remax of Kamloops. I'm Dominic Abassi.
And you want to argue this? Oh, I just started howling. Holmesy was started texting me, like, text was like, is this you, Brad? I'm like, yeah. He goes, just keep at her. He goes, let's do this. All right. We can do this all day, man. It was hilarious. He's the news reporter. That's how it works. You're going to do the math in your own town, right?
Second half underway here from Caledonia Park in Nanaimo. And already a little miscommunication from the Broncos there as they couldn't decide who would get the ball. Gabe Sokolowski did. He'll get to about his own 15-yard line. 35-0 the score here after 30 minutes of play. Raiders with a dominant first half, although they certainly did not go into the break with a lot of momentum as they turned the ball over twice consecutively to end the first half here. Do have some first half stats to pass along your way. Reed Van Connet struggled, 3 of 11, 57 yards passing, and 50 of those yards came on one completion as he connected for a big one with Thijs Doenfeld. Doenfeld, the leading receiver, of course, with that 50-yard grab. Trent Price, the top rusher for the Broncos in the first half, 4 carries for 26 yards, although 17 of those yards came on the first 2 carries of the game. Broncos overall 96 yards of offense, 57 through the air. So they have performed offensively better than they did last week. They were only able to muster 38 yards of net offense against that powerful Okanagan Sun defense. Oh, there's a big hit and a bit late, judging by the flag that came in there. As Ian Finstad made a good catch and was being held up in a position that was quite vulnerable, and he got blasted over the top. A little bit late. So they'll add 15 onto the end of this play for the Broncos, and they will move significantly up the field here. First and 10 after the penalty, up to the 40-yard line for the Broncos, as they have made a change at quarterback here to start the second half. The former Langley Ram, Rylan Matters, starting the second half under center for this Broncos team. Matters last year for Langley, 53% completion percentage, 1,064 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was actually mostly the starting quarterback for the Rams last season. Obviously, they had an underwhelming performance overall as a team last year, but Matters did have some effective periods. They didn't really have a number one true starting quarterback there in Langley last year, so Matters had some chances to play and start, and he will start the second half here for the Kamloops Broncos offense, who are trying to find anything to chip away at this 35-point deficit. 2 minutes into the second half here. Whistle and flags on this play. Holding against the Broncos is the call. Raiders' choice was 3rd and short or 2nd and long, and they're going to take 2nd and long. So they'll be backed up, the Broncos here just outside their own 35-yard line, facing second and long. See if Doug Hawking and defensive coordinator Kareem Mayer dial up any pressure here on second and long. Not by the looks of this set. Broncos trips to the top side of the field. Matters. Quick drop, pulls it down. Pump faked it. Actually made the linebacker fall down. Now he's going to try and break out wide, and he won't have enough for the first down. Not a bad pump fake there from Matters at the line, though. It gained him quite a few extra yards. Three minutes into the second half now. 1 minute away from kickoff in Victoria. We're on the West Shore in the BCFC Game of the Week. I would never advocate for you not to tune into my broadcast, but certainly an option if you want to maybe toggle between the two here on BCFC TV and check out the Game of the Week on the West Shore. That is just about to get underway for your watching pleasure. I wouldn't blame you. Probably looking at a little more drama off the hop between those two teams than you're seeing right here. But again, as I said, BCFC TV has a great, really user-friendly interface. You can watch more than one game at once quite easily. Short gain on first down, Matters. Handing that off to the veteran back, Potronich. And this is the challenge I have sometimes as a broadcaster in this league, because the coaches don't always know how to pronounce their own players' names, and they kind of just give them nicknames. And this is what I call him. And I said, well, that's not what his parents call him. I need to get his name right on the broadcast. And I was talking to a Broncos executive pregame as they line up here for second and about 6, just over midfield. And I said, okay, I need a couple of pronouncers. There's a nice juggling catch and a first down by Matt White. And we got to Andrew Potronich's name, and I said, well, is it Pockernick? And the executive said, yeah, Pockernick, sounds good. And Potronich happened to be standing right beside us, and he turned and said, actually, it's Potronich. So make sure we get that right. And the best this Broncos offense has looked so far here to start this half. Matters. Handoff. Big gain right up the middle. Sam Hill chunks off some nice yard and sets up a offensive coordinator's best friend of second and short. Brody Taylor subs out on the Raider defense. 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Great drive so far from the Broncos to start this second half. Started back on their own 15, but they're going to be faced with a third down decision here, as Price was unable to get the necessary yardage. They're going to leave the offense on the field here, and it's pretty impossible to argue with that decision. Facing a 35-point deficit here. Third down, about 3 needed from the Raider 36-yard line. They need to cross well over that 35 to get a first down. 2.5 yards, so they're way offside. That is unfortunate, because I think they have enough for the first down, but Matt White, I think that was way offside. If it wasn't White, it was Darian Pritchard. And man, that really will heat up a coach. When you see a player, I mean, you know the receiver knows the call in the huddle. It's 3rd and short, we're running the ball. I'm not getting the ball. There's really no excuse because that wasn't even close either. We're talking 5 yards offside there. Very unfortunate. Back it up, make it 3rd and 7. And they would have had enough for the first down there, I think. Eight and a half minutes to go here. A lengthy drive. 6.5-minute drive so far by Kamloops to start the half. They trail, though, by 5 scores. Don't break the huddle. Matters in the shotgun set with Hill, the back behind him. 3 wide receivers, top side of the field, 2 on the near side. Matters will throw pressure, the blitz. He gets away, though, throws it incomplete, almost intercepted. As Matters did a nice job to get away from a couple of defenders right in the backfield, but didn't have any options downfield, and this drive will end with the 3rd turnover on downs of the day. 3rd consecutive as well by the Broncos, and the Raiders will get their first chance on offense here already 7 minutes into the 3rd quarter from their own 41-yard line. Jake LeBears remains at quarterback. We'll see if the score remains the same, how much longer the Raiders stick with their starters. There is the starting running back, Rhett Williams, for a short game. First half offensive stats for the Raiders. Jake LeBears, 10 of 16, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Leading rusher, Rhett Williams, 10 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. As I said, in the first half, he's already got 4 majors this season, surpassing his total for all of last year. Also scoring a touchdown on a 1-yard run, and his only carry was backup running back Jason Henderson. As LeBears will throw one here to Mike West, and he got it. What a catch on the second effort. Oh, that's beautiful stuff from Mike West there. The ball came loose, but he hooked it with one arm as he was being tackled to the ground. Oh, a beautiful piece of work there by Mike West. His 4th catch of the game and a first down over midfield. That was a really, really nice show of concentration and hands to hook his arm around that, and a candidate for a play of the week right there. As I was saying, some first half offensive stats as West makes another catch here. And this one less impressive in a shorter game. West had 3 catches in the first half for 41 yards. North Rainey, 4 catches, 31 yards, 2 touchdowns. Raiders had 13 first downs compared to the Broncos' 2 in the first half. 293 yards of offense, 160 of which came on the ground for the Vancouver Island Raiders, and they put up 134 yards rushing last week as well. So this team can move the ball on the ground as Rainey drops one there. Not what you would expect from the 5th-year veteran, as he had that in his hands and he dropped it. That's a nice piece of kick coverage there. Braden Belton The depth D lineman downfield and no return. As the Broncos starting at their own 15, where they started the last drive. Doug Hawking giving accolades to his D lineman there for a great special teams play. 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Raiders 35-0 lead. Broncos second drive. Rylan Matters under center to start this second half, replacing Reed Van Connet. Hard to blame Brad Yamoka and company for making a quarterback change, as there was some offensive struggles with Van Connet at the helm in that first half. Not at all his fault. Certainly wouldn't blame him, but bottom line is when your offense isn't getting it done and your quarterback's 3 of 11, sometimes you have to pull that trigger. Matters is a veteran. As I said, had some decent success with the Langley Rams last year. Broncos, 1st and 10 inside their own 10. Matters didn't like what he saw on his first read. Now he's in trouble, scrambling around. Gets away and throws it to the sidelines, and it's caught. And first down yardage there, a nice gain for Darian Pritchard, who stayed with it and made himself a target on the scramble for his quarterback. And Matters, it wasn't easy, but he made the nice pass eventually there. He's showing some nice elusiveness in that backfield, as he quite frankly is not getting a lot of help up front right now. Broncos in the hurry up now. They'll hustle to the line here with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Hand it to Potronich, and he's got 6 on first down. They're underway down in West Shore. Referees conversing here as Pritchard, the injured Bronco, is helped off the field by the training staff. Rain picking back up again here at Caledonia Park in Nanaimo. As I was saying in the first half, I don't think anyone is too upset with this, even if they happen to be one of the poor souls who didn't bring an umbrella in the stands across from us here. Because we here in Nanaimo have been in a bad way for looking for rain. And Rylan Matters is in a bad way there on first down. Or second down, excuse me. As they tried to run play action, and there was no chance of that play getting off. Matthew Hill right on top of the quarterback as soon as he pulled his head back up from the play fake. So the Broncos are going to punt this ball away here. Under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. A quick moving quarter, as we've only seen 3 drives. 2 now from the Broncos, and the Raiders about to get their 4th if this punt goes off without any fireworks. Bailey, he's got room on that side now. Oh, and a good play. Nice coverage there. Very strong tackle by Joey Heistad. Otherwise, Bailey would have had a lot of green space in front of him. So the Raiders will start at their own 39. And they're calling for a Raider trainer, as there is a player in the back in black and red down on a knee back at around the 35-yard line, near where this punt was kicked from. 3:36 remaining in the third quarter. Raiders up 35-0. They scored on their first drive of the football game Jake LeBerge up to the back of the end zone on a 1-yard fade pass to North Rainey. 7-0, 5 minutes into the game. Raiders punted on their next drive and then went on a tear of 4 consecutive touchdown drives. In the second quarter, they scored 3 touchdowns in the span of 7 minutes. 2 of them came 2 minutes apart. As Bonnet Plume just spun off a big hit and gets a first down as the Raiders have made a change at quarterback here with a 35-0 lead late in a third quarter as Bonnet Plume got popped but didn't seem to phase him as he ripped through the defense for a first down. We now have Ricardo Gabe Olivares in at quarterback, spelling off Jake LeBerge. .240 to go in the third quarter. There's Rhett Williams. No relaxed time for the starting running back as the Raiders starting quarterback is now in spectator mode, presumably for the rest of this game. Jake LeBerge is standing right on the hip pocket of his offensive coordinator on the sidelines there. Williams again, big hole into the secondary, breaking tackles over the Bronco 30-yard line as Williams is up over 100 yards rushing for the second consecutive game this season. 112 last week. He's well beyond that here in week 2. A great start to the year for the veteran from Saskatchewan. As we're 90 seconds away from the end of the third quarter here. There's a bad snap, and no choice but to jump on that one for Olivares. And North Rainey is going to have to take a knee here. That's not a great sign, although I don't get the impression that he is suffering from any major ailment here. Rain steady and strong coming down here at Caledonia Park. Field looks to be in pretty good shape, though. Raiders backed up after the bad snap. Second and about 20 at the Bronco 39. Olivares over the seam, too high for his intended target, and we will see a punt here, would be my guess. Nick Hunchak will, from this spot, have to take something significantly off the ball if he doesn't want to simply just pound it through the end zone for a single point, which he may. I would think he'd probably want to try and angle this out of bounds somewhere inside the 10 in an ideal world, as we're in the final minute here of the third quarter. And Hunchak didn't like what he saw and is just going to have to throw this ball away. So the Broncos, now a flag comes in way late in that sideline. Oh, another flag comes out. I'm not sure if the Broncos had a full-on block on that punt or what it was, but they did get good penetration. Hunchak didn't get a chance to kick the ball. He ran with it, threw it for an incomplete pass, and now we have 2 different flags out on the field here. We will see how they are applied. Roughness against the Broncos and objectionable conduct against the Broncos. Oh boy. It's a significant amount of yardage that will go against this Kamloops team here. Dead ball fouls, so the Broncos will maintain possession. It's a turnover on downs on the Raiders, and that's 3 turnovers from them in this ball game. A pick, a fumble, and the turnover on downs, so it's something that they won't be very happy about. Broncos will start thanks to the penalties inside their own 10-yard line here. Trailing 35-0. Final seconds of the third quarter here. Matters hit hard as he throws in, tipped away. McNally Hardesty, one of the finer defensive backs in this league, elevating there and swatting that ball away. Matters got popped in the backfield as he let that ball go. Second and 10. Matters shotgun. 3 wide receivers on the far side of the field. They'll hand it off to Patrnich. He's got about half of what would be needed, but not any more than that. Tough spot here, I guess, for the Broncos. I mean, what's the point of punting, but also you turn the ball over inside your own 20, and doesn't help you either here, so I don't really know what the Broncos will choose to do. There are no time left on the clock here in the third quarter. And this will be the final play of that third quarter. Timeout now, called by Kamloops. Is there some confusion? I mean, are they lining up for a field goal here? I don't exactly know what the approach is here. I mean, the punter from last week for the Broncos, Bryce Couture, who last week tied set a franchise record for most punts in a single game, 15, perhaps a little banged up from punting so much. He hasn't been in the lineup today. And the Broncos have tried a couple of different punters. Casey Powell, the linebacker, has kicked a few. The kicker, Landon Monk, has as well. And maybe Brad Yamoka feels that the best distance Monk can get on the ball is through a field goal attempt, and that's what's going to happen here. So call this a... I don't know. Call this a 100-yard field goal attempt here. The first time I've ever seen this. And it's right to Xander Bailey at the 50, and now you've got your field goal team covering a punt, and a great tackle there. Otherwise, again, Bailey would have had a lot of room to go for there as Mixon Madlin came down the field and made the play. So no good, I guess, on the field goal there. It's bizarre. And the Raiders will start at the Bronco 50-yard line. on the first play of the fourth quarter. $35-0. VI in the lead. Out of town score update. 10-0 Okanagan Sun late in the first quarter of play. Sun in West Shore taking on the Rebels. Game of the week on BCFC TV. I would highly suggest you throw that game up on a split screen action here. You can watch the rest of this game and tune into the game of the week at the same time on BCFC TV. Powered here in Nanaimo by Remax of Kamloops. We'd like to really send a special thanks to Remax in the markets where they have signed back on to sponsor BCFC TV this season. And Remax of Kamloops jumping on board here to power the broadcasts around the league, and we certainly greatly appreciate their support in allowing us to bring junior football to the masses. 2nd and 5. Olivares throws incomplete, as he's yet to quite find a rhythm there since replacing Jake LeBerge. And, I mean, you hate to nitpick, but the Raiders had 4 consecutive touchdown drives through the end of the first and second quarter. In fact, they scored touchdowns on 5 of their first 6 drives in this game. But since then, they have gone punt, fumble, interception, punt, turnover on downs, punt. So, again, you're nitpicking, and it's only human nature to, oh boy, that's unfortunate there for Michael Berg as he slipped and lost his footing and then got ran over by the punt team. And now Hunchak just got knocked down by a defensive lineman, and he's getting into it behind the play. There's a Bronco defensive lineman there just knocked down Hunchak way behind the play. And that created a bit of a fracas down there. And Brad Yamoka is not pleased that there's no flag out. And there was a penalty against the Raiders already for what was deemed a late hit on Berg there, which to me I thought was a bit unfair on the coverage team, as they had absolutely no chance to hold up. I don't think Berg actually went down on his own accord anyways, but nevertheless, thanks to the penalty, the Broncos will start at their own 25-yard line. 35-0 Raiders, minute 20 into the fourth quarter here. Second and 9. Rylan Matters remains at quarterback. Potronich, the deep back. Raiders, 4 men on the line of scrimmage, 3 down, 1 standing. They'll bring 4-man pressure. Well blocked, but Matters has nowhere to go with the ball. Throws now as he steps up, wide open but too high. Intended for Finstad and sailed over his head. Really a great show of arm strength there from Matters, though. He was on the run, off balance, and threw off 1 foot basically, and he zipped that ball about 40 yards downfield. Unfortunately, it was over the head of his receiver Finstad and incomplete, brings up 3rd down. You see there, Matters certainly has the arm strength to throw the ball. There's no doubt about that. And again, the Broncos are going to kick a field goal here. This one, an 80-yard field goal attempt. No, 90 yards, excuse me. Bailey's going to return it again. He's hit out of bounds at the 40-yard line. He certainly felt that one, as he was given a strong pop from Cade Manuel South. So, I mean, what a bizarre circumstance here. The Broncos don't have a punter they feel comfortable with punting the ball, and instead they're attempting field goals from their own end of the field. They feel that's, I suppose, their best way to get the ball downfield. I can't say I've ever seen a 100-yard field goal attempt in my life. That's what we've witnessed here. And you have to feel for Landon Monk, the poor kid. His field goal percentage is taking a beating here today. Rebels get on the board with a field goal. It's 10-3 Okanagan at the end of the first quarter in the BCFC Game of the Week, also on BCFC TV. Here, we are 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. The Raiders up 5 scores, shutting out the Broncos so far. Bad snap. Olivares is going to just try and run away, and he'll be gobbled up and sacked in the backfield. Curtis Muchman getting a hold of the Raider quarterback there. Since Jake LeBear's checked out, really actually since late in the second quarter, this Raider offense has really looked quite disjointed. And I know that Doug Hawking will not be happy about that. I mean, regardless of the scoreline and the fact that you might end up winning this game, you like to maintain your level of performance throughout a football game. The Raiders did not do that last week when they blew a huge lead and lost in Chilliwack. And they really have not done that here today either. There is a gorgeous kick. Forces the Bronco returner just inside his own goal line, and Gabe Soklovsky isn't going to get much farther than the 10-yard line. And there you see the Nick Hunchak effect. It is something. His punting ability, I tell you. Punters are people too, you know. At least that's what they say. 4 minutes ticked off the clock in the fourth quarter here. You're watching BCFC TV, powered by Remax of Kamloops. Here today, my name is Dominic Abassi, at Dom Abassi, DOMABASSI, if you want to send out a tweet. Checking my Twitter throughout the game here today. Probably should have mentioned that 3 quarters ago, but feel free. Let me know where you're tuning in from, who you're cheering on today. Steady rain continues to fall here at a fairly soggy Caledonian Park. Week 2 in the BCFC. Raiders trying to get back to the win column after a very bad loss. Here's a bad snap and a fumble and a loose ball. Pile up on it. Who's got it? Raiders have it, or I should say Broncos have it as the indication here. Yeah. Offense holds possession of that ball. 2nd and 11. Rylan Matters shotgun. Behind him, Sam Hill, the running back. 3 wide receivers on the near side of the field. Matters. Incomplete. And Landon Monk is going to come on for another 90-yard field goal attempt here. His field goal percentage is just getting killed here. He might surprise us and hit one of these. I don't know. I don't care if the Broncos lose the game. If he hits a 90-yard field goal, it's a win for them. They didn't attempt a field goal at all last week against the Sun, did the Broncos, in their 56-6 loss. This is kicked and angled out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. The Raiders bench was sort of poking fun at the Broncos, if you will. They're just saying, like, is your punter really that bad? So why? What's happening here? I've watched this game a long time. Been involved in junior football for about 16 years now. And I have literally never, ever seen that before. You learn something every day, I guess. Olivares trying to get this offense reignited here for the Raiders. 8:40 to go in the fourth quarter. They have gone into hibernation after scoring 5 touchdowns on the first 6 drives of the game. Since then, been about 9 straight drives with nothing to show for it. There's Bonnet Plume on second down. He won't have enough for first down yardage. So the Raiders will choose to leave their offense on the field, it looks like here. You see Jake LeBears from the sideline cheering on his understudy here. Five touchdowns on 6 drives, and now the 8th drive in a row. The Raiders are facing no production here. Flags fly on 3rd down as VI was trying to vary the snap count there, and all they did was throw themselves off. And we'll get another chance to marvel at the skills of Nick Hunchak. High snap, Hunchak can't handle it, and they're going to say he kneeled down, so he's rolled down at the Bronco 50-yard line. So another turnover on downs for the Raiders here today. So that's a 4th turnover of the day for the Raiders. 2 on downs, a pick and a fumble. As the Raiders have really lost any sense of urgency here, and I suppose you can't really fault them for that, but again, that is not a characteristic of a championship football team playing flat when a game is not over, no matter what the score is. Finstad on a quick pass from Matters. He'll gain minimal yardage there, under 7 minutes to go in the football game. 35-0, the Raiders remain in the lead. And that has been our score since there was 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Second and 8 here. Incomplete pass there. Matters looking for Krzyzanowski. But he could not come up with it off his fingertips. We'll see a third down play here. Matters in the shotgun. Bit of a tight end set here for extra protection for the Broncos, and Finstad makes the catch over the middle of the field. Third down conversion good. To the 42-yard line. Broncos move the ball. I think it's fair to say that their offense has looked the most proficient with Ryland Matters at the helm, although he has not been able to score any more points than Reed Van Connet did for his team when he was in for the first half at quarterback. Fresh set of downs from the Raider 44. Matters rolls out, dumps off a short pass for Krzyzanowski, who gains 5 on first down. Second down here. Broncos with extra protection on the right side of their line. 4 wide receivers, they'll hand it off, and Patrnich finds nowhere to go there. Tyler Hill coming downhill with a purpose. And a third down situation here for the Broncos. They converted the last time they faced this. The Raiders dial up the pressure. They haven't done that a lot here. Third down, not a bad time to do it. Force the offense to make a play. They will bring 5 here. Matters runs away from it. In the grasps of Dylan Neufeld, he throws the ball incomplete, and a turnover on downs for the 4th time today. 4 minutes to go in this football game. And a long trip home awaiting the Kamloops Broncos here. Olivares in the shotgun here. Broncos, 4-man pressure. Oh, almost picked off. And Spencer Joma can't believe he didn't come up with that. Because that was right there for the taking. 2nd and 9. Pass deep, and that's on the money. Eli Nelms Horton elevates and pulls that in as Olivares has his best connection of the day. First and 10 inside the Bronco 30. Under 3 to go in the game. Olivares falls down trying to spin out of that play action. It's kind of indicative of the way the Raiders offense has gone here for much of the second half of this game. As we hit the 3-minute warning with 2:41 on the clock. One more game to get underway today. One of them underway right now. Of course, down in Victoria, the West Shore Rebels hosting the Okanagan Sun. Game of the week. Action there. See if I can get the latest score to pass along your way from that. Olivares will throw. He's got Bonnet Plume wide open. Pulls it in. Over the 5, stepped out of bounds at the 3, but there is a flag down. We're going to bring this play back. It was unfortunate because that was a nice connection. Bonnet Plume was wide open. Offensive pass interference, the call. So a pick play the Raiders accused of there. So they'll back them way up. Latest score I have from West Shore is still 10-3 Okanagan Sun. You can, of course, watch that game on BCFC TV here today, powered by Remax of Kamloops. And then tonight, as that falls incomplete on 2nd down, tonight we will see the Battle of the Valley. And I know the game of the week is that Sun Rebels matchup, but honestly, I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen in Chilliwack tonight as the Huskers host the Rams. I mean, the Rams are 0-1. They lost a close Week 1 game at home to the Rebels. There is some talking to a few people before this game, and they said the Rams better be ready to play because the Huskers can beat them. Big surprise here. Hunchak just had a great punt. And it'll be brought up by Andrew Berg to about the 15-yard line. 2:11 left to go here in this one. The Rams and the Huskers also did something that I don't know if I've ever really quite seen before in the BCFC. They did a joint practice in the preseason. Most teams no longer play preseason games. There used to be typically preseason games, but they don't do that anymore. And instead, the Rams and Huskers had a joint practice, and you see that quite routinely in the NFL. That's a pretty typical thing. And they both coaches raved about it. They said it was great, but it also did get a little heated apparently. So already there will be some familiarity and dislike when the two Valley teams from the Lower Mainland square off tonight 7 o'clock start at the gorgeous Exhibition Stadium. There's an interception as that is picked off by Corey Fletcher. He had dreams of getting his way to the end zone there, but not quite, as he'll be knocked down inside the 10-yard line. Matters throws the pick, the 5th turnover of the day by the Broncos with 2 minutes to go here. And that, well, never mind. Scratch all of that. Offside against the defense. So that takes a turnover away. Handoff on 1st and 5 after the interception negated by a offside penalty. Sam Hill, the rather diminutive running back with a short gain. Not even really. Bad snap. Matters goes down to get it. He's hit as he throws, and that's picked off. Pick 6. Right into the end zone for Jeremy Chang, the veteran Nanaimo product. An all-star caliber player in this league, and it doesn't get much easier than that. On a pick 6. As the Raiders had one late for good measure with 90 seconds left to go in this game. What a player he is. Made that look easy. So ultimately this Bronco drive does end in a pick. The last one was waved off. This one ended even worse for Kamloops with a defensive touchdown. The Raiders will add the extra point and make it 42-0 with 90 seconds to play in this football game. Remax of Kamloops powering BCFC TV here today. These two teams next up for them. The Broncos will be at home against the West Shore Rebels. Next weekend, the Raiders a week from today, Saturday afternoon, right here at Caledonia Park against the Langley Rams. And boy, oh boy, you better bet there's some storylines there, as Matt Blocker will make his return to Caledonia Park. The winningest coach in the history of the BCFC, and the vast majority of those wins coming as the head coach of the Vancouver Island Raiders. Won 3 national championships as the head coach of this team. In 2006, 2008, 2009. And he left the Raiders several years ago to coach the Calgary Colts in the Prairie Football Conference. And now back in the BCFC at the helm of the Langley Rams. And it is going to be a very interesting day here at Caledonia Park. next Saturday with Matt Blocker in town. I mean, the storylines are just really never ending there. Minute 18 left on the clock here. 42-0. The Raiders have themselves in the lead here. Broncos giving up 98 points in the first 120 minutes they've played this season. That is problematic, to say the least. And the Raiders are going to hang a 0 here, most likely, as a flag flies, as Matters connects that pass. On the money with Krzyzanowski. First down yardage, but there is a flag down. Although I think the defense moved early. .51 seconds to go here. That is the case, offside defense. Waters, far side for Dunveld, and he is triple teamed at the end of a 5-yard gain. This Broncos team only won 2 games last year. Both of those wins coming over the Valley Huskers, and I think it's going to be a much different matchup when they play Bob Reest's Huskers this year. That coach, I tell you, he's got that Huskers team looking up. They've recruited well. They've got a stud quarterback by all accounts. The Broncos are going to need to do some hard work if they don't want to finish in 6th place in the BCFC this season. I'm telling you that now. Krzyzanowski fell down coming out of his break on that route. And the pass falls incomplete. 2 seconds left in this football game. And the Raiders, I mean, it's hard to tell based on today. But based on what I'm hearing, not what I've seen, which is different, obviously, but what I'm hearing tells me that the Okanagan Sun have recruited a hell of a football team this year, and the West Shore Rebels as well, a contender. So are the Raiders ready to challenge that echelon this year with this team that we're seeing right now? I don't know. I'll have to get my eyes on those other teams first. As the final whistle blows in here. It wasn't overly pretty all day for the Raiders. They had some flashes. The Broncos struggled from start to finish, especially offensively. And it is a 42-0 final score. Jake LeBerge throws a couple of touchdown passes in just a half of football. North Rainey, a couple of touchdown passes that he caught. Rhett Williams over 100 yards rushing for the 2nd straight week, and he had a pair of touchdowns to his credit as well. A pick 6 for Jeremy Chang. And a tough day all around for the Kamloops Broncos for their football team. The Raiders improve to 1-1. The Broncos fall to 0-2. Both of these teams at home next weekend. Raiders home to the Rams. Broncos home to the Rebels. Be sure to tune in to the rest of the action this week in the BCFC on BCFC TV. Right now, down in West Shore, the game of the week, the Sun and the Rebels going head-to-head. Sun, at last report, had a 10-3 lead. Then at 7 o'clock tonight, the Valley Huskers home to the Langley Rams in a very intriguing matchup right there. Big thanks to all the contributors in making the broadcast go today. And big thanks to our title sponsor, Remax Kamloops, for bringing you this game here today. Raiders 42, Broncos nothing. That's the final score from Caledonia Park in Nanaimo. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dominic Avassi. Good evening.